I check my phone while my cursor hovers over the complete purchase button for the French villa I've been eyeing for months. The screen lights up with a text from Mom, and my stomach clenches before I even read it. We're keeping Thanksgiving small with Elliot's family this year. Hope you're okay sitting this one out. My hand freezes midair. The familiar sting of exclusion burns through my chest, but it's duller now, expected. This marks the third family gathering I've been uninvited to this year. The pattern is so predictable I could set my watch by it. I stare at the villa listing on my laptop screen, stone walls bathed in Provençal sunlight, a long wooden table on the terrace perfect for gatherings. For a moment, doubt creeps in. Who would I even invite to fill those chairs? Then something shifts inside me. I press complete purchase with a decisive click, watching as my life savings transforms into something tangible, something mine. I type a single-word response to Mom's text, noted. The phone drops onto the couch beside me, and I feel lighter somehow, freer. Last Christmas flashes through my mind, standing in Mom's kitchen, champagne in hand, trying to share news of my promotion to vice president. "That's nice, honey," Mom had said, patting my arm before rushing off to comfort Elliot, who'd just announced his company was going through layoffs. Again. My celebration dinner became a strategy session for my brother's career revival. "You're so independent, Leona. Elliot needs our support more." How many times had I heard that refrain? So many, it had become the background music of my childhood. The Georgetown MBA graduation, where they left halfway through the ceremony because Elliot had called with an apartment crisis. The school plays they missed because my brother needed help with college applications. The carefully cultivated self-sufficiency they now used as evidence that I didn't need them. I pick up my phone again, but instead of responding to Mom with my usual "I understand" or "maybe next time," I scroll to Aunt Carol's number. My father's sister, a retired civil rights lawyer, who never minced words about anything, especially family. "Leona," she answers on the second ring. What a lovely surprise. "Hi, Aunt Carol." My voice comes out steady, surprising me. I've been excluded from Thanksgiving. Again. No apologetic tone, no qualifying statements. Just facts. "And what are you going to do about it this time?" she asks, a challenge in her voice. I look at the confirmation email for my villa purchase. Something different. I remember when I was 26, watching my parents co-sign Elliot's third business loan after telling me to be practical when I wanted to start my own company. I'd shelved my dreams and climbed the corporate ladder instead, building the kind of resume that would finally make them proud. 8 years of calculated moves, of swallowed disappointments, of building a life designed to earn their approval. And what did I have to show for it? A seat at their table only when convenient, love that felt conditional, and a growing emptiness that all my achievements couldn't fill. I bought a villa in Provence today. I tell Aunt Carol. I'm hosting my own Thanksgiving. The silence stretches between us, and I prepare for the gentle lecture about burning bridges and family obligations. Instead, she laughs a warm, delighted sound. It's about time. I feel something crack inside me, the first fissure in the wall I've built around my heart. I'm risking what remains of my already fragile family ties. But as I picture that long table in France, I realize something I've been avoiding for years. I've been building my life for external validation that will never come. "Would you like to come?" I ask, the question both terrifying and liberating. "Wild horses couldn't keep me away," Aunt Carol replies. For the first time in years, I feel the possibility of something new taking root, a family of my own making, a table where everyone is truly welcome. I empty my closet onto the bed, sorting clothes into piles for my impromptu French escape. The practical side of my brain warns this is impulsive, but something deeper keeps me moving forward. Behind a stack of winter sweaters, I spot the forgotten leather photo albums Mom insisted I take when she decluttered last year. "You always were the sentimental one," she'd said, as if preserving family memories was some peculiar hobby rather than basic human instinct. I flip open the first album, and my chest tightens. Elliot's third birthday party, balloons, presents, and both parents beaming at him. Then my third birthday, captured in just 2 photos. Me blowing out candles alone, Mom visible only as a blurred arm reaching to help Elliot with something off camera. Album after album tells the same story. My high school graduation. One distant shot where I'm barely visible among classmates. Elliot's an entire page, including close-ups with extended family. Without thinking, I reach for my laptop and open a spreadsheet titled Family Events Log. My therapist had suggested it 6 months ago when I mentioned feeling overlooked. Document it objectively, she'd said. Patterns become clearer when we see them in black and white. The spreadsheet is meticulous. Dates, events, who attended, notable interactions. The data doesn't lie. 78% of my significant life events included early parental departures or complete absences. Elliot's attendance rate, 97%. Something physical shifts inside me like a belt I've worn too tight suddenly loosening. My chest expands with a full breath, perhaps my first in years. The real cost wasn't just missed birthdays or graduations. It was the authentic connections I'd sacrificed while chasing parental approval that would never materialize. I'd turned down international assignments, limited dating to men my parents would approve of, chosen stability over my own entrepreneurial dreams, all to remain available for family gatherings where I was, at best, an afterthought. I shut the laptop and turned to my phone. My desk looks different somehow as I sit down to make calls. I've flipped the family photos face down, replacing their accusatory gazes with travel guides to Provence, spread open like promises. With each call, my voice grows stronger. My cousins Mark and Jennifer, Dad's brother's children who've always treated me as an equal, rearranged their plans instantly. We were dreading another political argument with Uncle Ted anyway. Jennifer laughs. France sounds infinitely better. My colleague Talia squeals with delight. Provence in fall? Absolutely yes. By evening, 7 people have enthusiastically accepted. I study the villa photos again, this time calculating risks rather than just dreaming. The purchase represents my entire savings outside retirement accounts money I'd been hoarding for some undefined future emergency. What if the gathering proves my worst fear? That I've alienated my birth family only to discover my chosen one is equally tenuous. Professionally, I'm risking the momentum of our biggest product launch. Taking 2 weeks off now means stepping back during a critical phase, potentially signaling to leadership that I'm not serious about advancement. But the most gnawing fear is simpler. What if I'm overreacting? What if this dramatic gesture burns bridges that, despite their structural flaws, I'll regret losing? I check my work email one last time before bed, finding a message from my boss, Richard, responding to my time off request. Approved. The team can handle things. Reminds me of when I finally stopped attending my stepfather's fishing trips after years of being the designated bait boy while my brothers got to actually fish. Sometimes the healthiest family choice is distance. Bring me back some good wine. The small validation warms. The magnitude of what I'm doing hits me fully. I'm choosing myself perhaps for the first time, yet I am still insecure and wonder if I'm making the right choice. Should I create a new tradition with people who valued me, or make one last attempt to fit into the family I was born into? What would you do when the people who should love you most consistently make you feel least important? 3 days later, my phone buzzes for the 5th time today. Mom again. The screen lights up with a photo of Elliot's 6-year-old twins wearing pilgrim hats. The kids keep asking when Aunt Leona is coming. They miss you terribly. I set my phone down beside the half-packed suitcase on my bed. The manipulation is so transparent now that I've started looking for it. 3 days of this daily text about how much everyone misses me, as if I'd declined their invitation rather than been excluded from it. The landline rings, my father's preferred method of communication. I almost let it go to voicemail, but something pulls me toward it. Leona. His voice carries that familiar note of disapproval. Your mother and I are concerned about this trip of yours. Are you? I fold a sweater, tucking it carefully into my suitcase. A villa in France? In this economy? It seems unnecessarily extravagant. He clears his throat. You always were impulsive with money. The laugh escapes before I can stop it. I've never made an impulsive purchase in my life. My retirement accounts are fully funded. My mortgage is ahead of schedule. I drive a 10-year-old car that's paid off. Dad, I appreciate your concern, but my finances are solid. Well, he pauses. Family should come first, Leona. My phone pings with an Instagram notification. Elliot's wife, Sarah, has posted photos of a shopping trip, the cart overflowing with Thanksgiving supplies. The caption reads, Annual Whitaker Family Gathering Prep. Blessed. Family Traditions. The pit in my stomach deepens. They're not just excluding me, they're replacing me. I have to go, Dad, I say, ending the call before he can respond. When my phone rings an hour later, I answer without checking, assuming it's another parental guilt trip. Hey, I've got terrible news. Talia's voice comes through, tight with stress. The grant committee moved up our deadline. There's no way I can make it to France. My best friend, my emotional support through a decade of family drama, won't be there. The weight of what I'm doing crashes over me like a wave. I understand, I say, though I don't, not really. After we hang up, I sit on the edge of my bed, suitcase open beside me. What am I doing? Am I throwing away my family forever over one Thanksgiving? The thought keeps me awake deep into the night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if this grand gesture will leave me more alone than I already am. Morning brings no clarity, just determination. If I'm doing this, I'm doing it right. I spend 3 hours online ordering additional decorations for the villa, autumn-colored throw pillows, rustic candle holders, locally sourced table linens. The confirmation emails pile up in my inbox, each one a commitment to my new path. My phone buzzes with a text from an unexpected source. Tom, Elliot's husband. I heard what happened. I've always seen how they treat you. Elliot and I aren't okay with it. Would you consider letting us join you instead? I read it 3 times, waiting for the punchline, the trap. It doesn't come. The night before my flight, my parents request a video call. I accept from my hotel room in Paris, where I've stopped for 2 nights before heading to Provence. My mother's face appears, perfectly made up despite the early hour in California. My father sits beside her, his mouth a thin line of disapproval. We're trying to understand why you're being so difficult about this, Mom says. It's just one Thanksgiving. It's never just one anything with us, Mom. Dad leans forward. You're being childish. Family should come first. Something inside me shifts, like a lock finally turning. I agree, I say. That's why I'm with people who treat me like family. What does that mean? Mom asks. It means Elliot and Tom are joining me in Provence. They're landing tomorrow. 2. The shock on their faces would be comical if it weren't so sad. Mom recovers first. Elliot would never. He already has. I interrupt. He's an adult capable of making his own choices. The conversation spirals from there. But something has changed. For the first time, I don't feel the need to defend myself, to make them understand. Their approval isn't my responsibility anymore. Aunt Carol arrives at the villa first, sweeping in with a shopping bag full of handwritten recipe cards. Your grandmother's corn pudding, she says, pulling one out, and her cranberry sauce. No holiday is complete without them. My cousins Mark and Jennifer coordinate rental cars and grocery shopping with military precision while doing our video calls. They will also come on Thanksgiving. We've got this, Mark assures me, his wife nodding beside him. I realize I've stopped checking my phone for messages from my parents. The constant ache of waiting for their approval has faded to background noise. The morning of Thanksgiving dawns crisp and clear. I wake early, spending hours in the kitchen preparing a table that honors both American tradition and French culture. Cranberry sauce in crystal bowls, fresh baguettes beside cornbread, wine from local vineyards chilling in silver buckets. I've rearranged the guest rooms, giving Elliot and Tom the one with the best view a small private victory. As the afternoon light floods the dining room, turning the wooden table golden, the doorbell rings. I stand alone in the perfectly prepared room, heart pounding, and walk toward whatever comes next. I answer the door with a flutter in my stomach, finding the rest of my family and friends together. Mark and Jennifer arrive, cousins who've barely spoken to my parents in years but who always send me birthday cards with handwritten notes. I've stocked Jennifer's favorite non-dairy creamer and Mark's preferred bourbon. Their appreciative glances at these small details make my chest warm in a way no corporate achievement ever has. My colleague Sophia exclaims over the travel neck pillow I've left on her bed, the exact one she'd mentioned wanting during our last business trip. How did you remember that? She asks. And I realize I've always been listening to others while waiting for someone to listen to me. When the rental car carrying Elliot and Tom finally crunches up the gravel driveway, I force myself to stand still rather than rush out. They approach with tentative steps, Tom carrying a bottle of wine, Elliot clutching a small gift bag like a shield. The room with the vineyard view. I tell them, leading them upstairs, I thought you might appreciate waking up to it. Elliot blinks rapidly, glancing at Tom. You gave us the best room? His voice carries the weight of our childhood, when the best was always reserved for him yet somehow never enough. Why wouldn't I? I ask simply. We're halfway through our welcome dinner when Elliot's phone rings. He glances at the screen, and the color drains from his face. It's Mom. he says, thumb hovering over the screen. You should answer, I say, surprising myself with how calm I feel. They're your parents too. Elliot puts the phone on speaker. Mom's voice fills the room, artificially bright. Elliot, honey, are you okay? We've been trying to reach everyone for hours. Your father is worried sick. I'm fine, Mom. We're all fine. Elliot's eyes meet mine across the table. We're having dinner at Leona's villa. With her? The venom in her voice makes several guests flinch. After everything we've done for you? This is how you repay us? Dad's voice cuts in. Son, this is ridiculous. You're making a huge mistake taking her side. After all the times we've helped you. That's exactly the problem, Elliot interrupts, his voice stronger than I've ever heard it. You've helped me so much that I never learned to stand on my own. You've given me everything except the chance to earn anything myself. Meanwhile, Leona has earned everything and gotten nothing from you. The silence that follows feels like a physical presence. We're coming to get you, Mom announces, her voice brittle. No, you're not. Elliot looks directly at me as he speaks. I'm exactly where I want to be. He ends the call and turns off his phone completely. The table sits in stunned silence until Tom reaches over and squeezes Elliot's hand. I'm sorry, Leona. Elliot says, his voice cracking. I've been enabling them for years. I never stood up for you. Later, as we prepare dessert, the group naturally divides tasks based on skills. Mark, who used to be a baker, takes charge of the tarte tatin. Jennifer, who worked as a sommelier, selects wine pairings. There's no jockeying for control, no hidden agenda, just cooperation. In the kitchen, Aunt Carol sidles up beside me. Remember when Leona won that national essay contest in 10th grade? She says to Elliot, who's arranging cheese. Your parents said they couldn't attend the ceremony because you had a soccer game. I didn't have a game, Elliot says slowly. I had practice. Regular practice. I know, Aunt Carol replies. I was the only family member there when she received her award. Elliot sets down the cheese knife, and I watch understanding settle into his features. My phone pings with a notification. Mom's texts have shifted from angry demands to confused questions. What's happening? Why is no one answering? Are you all okay? Another ping, my neighbor in Santa Barbara letting me know my mother called, claiming there was a family emergency. When Elliot asks if I think our parents will ever understand what they've done, I hesitate. Should I hold on to hope for eventual reconciliation, or accept that some relationships can't be healed, only respected from a distance? I don't have an answer yet. But looking around at these people who chose to be here, who chose me, I realize I already have something worth celebrating. On Thanksgiving Day, I wake and find an email arriving on my phone. The Provençal sun streams through gauzy curtains, painting golden stripes across the antique wooden floor. For a moment, I linger in the simple pleasure of morning in my villa before reaching for my phone. The sender's name makes my stomach clench. Mom. Emergency Thanksgiving change of plans, reads the subject line in all caps. I sit up against the headboard, my thumb hovering over the message. As they have already taken off, they will be in France soon. As the email loads, it confirms my doubts. It says, your father and I have booked flights to Paris. We'll rent a car and be there by dinner. We can't let this family split apart like this. Elliot needs to come home with us. We're willing to start fresh, Leona, but this is your last chance to be part of this family. My hands shake, but not from fear. Something unfamiliar ripples through me, a clarity I've never felt when dealing with my parents. I slide out of bed, pad downstairs to the kitchen where everyone has gathered for coffee. Aunt Carol notices my expression first. Honey, everything okay? Instead of hiding the message or making excuses as I would have before, I hold up my phone. My parents have booked flights to Paris. They'll be here by dinner. I pass my phone around, letting everyone read the email for themselves. The kitchen falls silent as each person absorbs the desperate words, the thinly veiled threats. What do you want to do? Tom asks, his hand finding Elliot's shoulder. 6 faces watch me, waiting. No one jumps to tell me what I should do or how I should feel. The power of choice sits squarely in my hands. I say slowly, this is our Thanksgiving. They had their chance. Elliot stands, squares his shoulders. I'll call them. This has gone on long enough. His voice carries none of the hesitation that used to appear whenever he went against our parents' wishes. They need to understand they can't hijack this gathering. Jennifer nods firmly. We're here for you, Not them. If they show up uninvited, Mark adds, they can stay in town. There are lovely hotels. They've spent your whole life making you accommodate their needs, Aunt Carol says, stirring her coffee. You don't owe them that anymore. The knot in my chest loosens. This is what support feels like. Not the conditional approval I've chased for 3 decades, but people who stand beside you, even when the choice is difficult. Hours later, the villa transforms. The long wooden table I fell in love with online now stretches across the terrace, draped in a cream-colored tablecloth. Candles catch the late afternoon light, and platters of food, some traditionally American, others decidedly French, cover nearly every inch of surface. We gather around the table, this mismatched family of my choosing. Elliot and Tom sit across from me, their hands clasped on the tabletop. Aunt Carol takes the chair to my right, while Jennifer, Mark, and my coworker Daniel fill the remaining seats. No one sits at the head of the table. We form a circle of equals. The golden hour bathes us in warm light as I raise my glass. Before we eat, I'd like everyone to share something they're genuinely thankful for this year. Tom goes first, his voice steady but thick with emotion. I'm thankful for chosen family and the courage to create your own table. He looks directly at me. Some people spend their whole lives waiting for a seat they'll never get. You built something better. Aunt Carol clears her throat. I've watched you be sidelined for years, Leona. I regret my silence. I'm thankful you finally decided your worth wasn't determined by people who couldn't see it. When Elliot's turn comes, he stares into his wine glass for a long moment. I'm thankful for clarity, he says finally. I've been part of a family dynamic that hurt my sister for years. I didn't create it, but I benefited from it. I'm thankful for the chance to change that, starting today. Tears blur my vision, but unlike the tears I've shed over family dinners past, these don't burn. They feel like release. When everyone has spoken, I take a deep breath. I spent most of my life trying to earn my place at a table where the rules kept changing. I'm thankful I finally realized I could build my own. We raise our glasses. The crystal catches the setting sun, throwing prisms across the white tablecloth. In this moment, I see with perfect clarity what I've created, not just a meal or a gathering, but genuine connection. The kind I've craved all my life. The unconditional belonging I chased through achievements and accommodations that were never enough. My phone vibrates against the table. I glance down at the notification. Flight AF 1250 from JFK has landed at Charles de Gaulle Airport. They're here, in France, a 4-hour drive from where we sit. Will they respect the boundaries Elliot set during his call? Or will they show up anyway, expecting to be welcomed? Will they create a scene or retreat to lick their wounds? For the first time in my life, I realize I don't need to know the answer. Whatever happens next, I've already won. I turn my phone face down on the table and reach for the serving dish closest to me. Who wants turkey? The next day, as there were some delays with cars and other procedures, my parents arrived on Friday. The morning sun filters through the garden's olive trees, casting dappled shadows across our faces as we sip coffee from mismatched French pottery. Tom tells a story about his first attempt at croissants, and laughter ripples around our makeshift family circle. I notice Elliot watching me, something like wonder in his expression. For once, I'm not checking my phone or mentally rehearsing what to say when our parents inevitably call. This is nice, Elliot says simply, reaching for my hand across the table. The crunch of tires on gravel interrupts our moment. My coffee cup freezes halfway to my lips as a taxi appears at the end of the long driveway. 8 pairs of eyes turn to me. Questions unspoken. In the past, I would have jumped up, smoothed my clothes, and rushed to manage whatever crisis my parents brought with them. Instead, I set my cup down with deliberate calm and remained seated. They actually came, Aunt Carol murmurs, adjusting her glasses. Of course they did, I reply, surprised by the steadiness in my voice. They've never missed an opportunity to reclaim control. Take this, Feidi. As my parents emerge from the taxi, luggage in tow and faces tight with determination, something remarkable happens. Everyone at the table stands together, not rushing forward in welcome, but forming a unified presence beside me. Elliot moves to stand at my shoulder, his hand resting lightly on my chair. Leona, my mother calls, her voice carrying that familiar note of authority that once would have had me scrambling to attention. What a lovely little gathering. We came as soon as we could. My father begins directing the taxi driver about the luggage, already attempting to orchestrate the scene. We'll need these in the main bedroom, and be careful with that blue bag. I feel my chest tighten with the old anxiety, but it loosens when Aunt Carol squeezes my shoulder. This time is different. Mom, Dad, I say, standing slowly. We weren't expecting you. Well, we couldn't let our family be scattered for Thanksgiving, my mother says, moving toward the head of the table as if it were her rightful place. Now, what are today's plans? We should probably rearrange things to accommodate everyone properly. My father adds, I saw a market in the village that would have better bread than what you've got here. Elliot, help me make a list of what we need. The same situation I've experienced hundreds of times before, my parents arriving and immediately rearranging everything to their liking, assuming control without question. But my response has changed. You're welcome to join us, I say, my voice gentle but firm. But this is already a complete gathering. We're not waiting to begin. We have plans for a hike to the lavender fields this morning, and everyone's looking forward to it. My mother blinks, momentarily speechless. My father turns from where he's been inspecting the garden, frowning. Tom quietly begins pouring 2 extra cups of coffee. Jennifer slides the bread basket closer to the empty chairs. Mark casually mentions the weather forecast, continuing our previous conversation. Their subtle actions form a protective barrier, not excluding my parents, but refusing to let them dominate. Most surprising of all is Elliot, who moves to stand beside me rather than gravitating toward our parents as he always has. Mom, Dad, he says, there's plenty of room at the table. We saved you seats. He gestures to 2 places near the middle, noticeably not at either end. My mother's expression shifts between confusion and calculation. My father looks as though he's considering whether to argue or acquiesce. I walk to the long wooden table that started this entire journey and straighten the place cards I created last night, each person's name in my careful calligraphy, including 2 I added for my parents, positioned between Aunt Carol and Jennifer. This will be an annual tradition, I announce, surprised by how right the words feel. Thanksgiving at the villa, for whoever wants to attend. Next year we might do a progressive dinner with the neighbors I met yesterday. As I watch my parents decide whether to stay or go, I realize the table I've built has room for everyone, but only on equal terms. Is it better to maintain connections with difficult family members by setting firm boundaries? Or is there sometimes more peace in accepting that some relationships might need to end for new ones to flourish? Whatever they choose today, I finally understand that their decision doesn't define my worth. The table is set, and for the first time, I'm not waiting for permission to begin.